Welcome to the LANCave. We're living as nerds. I'm actually solo this week, but that's okay. We're hanging out, talking video games. I'm Patrick, by the way. Talking video games, nerd news, all kinds of really cool stuff. And this week, since Owen's not here, we'll be skipping our Star Wars talk. We'll just go in to talk nerdy stuff. So if you want to talk to me, talk to me in the comments and stuff, and I'll talk to you. Starting off today, let's start off with the bad news, and then we'll get some more good news. So, starting off with bad news, we had news of delays out of Ubisoft. We're getting Watch Dogs Legion is being delayed, along with Gods and Monsters and Rainbow Six Quarantine. Now, yeah, I could see that why they're wanting to delay these. They're wanting to make sure that they have better quality. Breakpoint completely bombed, so I can see why they would delay these. Kind of surprised Watch Dogs Legion got delayed, and Quarantine was not surprised by Gods and Monsters being delayed, because it seemed like it was kind of early in its infancy anyways. I mean, it seemed like it didn't have that much fleshed out. Maybe that's just my view of it, having seen the trailer and heard people talk about it. I mean, I'm quasi interested in this game, but you know, it's still got a long way to go. Right now it looks like the trailer for a mobile game, and like I said, it's got some ways to go before it's better. Sorry, I'm fixing my microphone. Hold on. That's better. What else? We got Last of Us 2 being delayed. It's only delayed for a couple weeks, which is weird because we just got a release date on Last of Us 2. Our usual rule of thumb is, okay, delay it, make sure it's good, get it right. We don't want to rush it, especially games like this, something that's going to be so impactful. This is art. You're trying to rush art. You're trying to rush, a package. And especially nowadays, 21st century, a lot of software is sent out. It's not really fixed because they assume that people are just going to patch and update, and that'll be that. They don't have to worry about shipping it out actually completed. So I'm really happy when companies actually don't go into full-on crunch and allow their developers, their programmers and artists to get the stuff done. So I'm excited about that. I went black for a second there, but that's only because of the trailer. I'm excited about the game. I'm sad it's delayed a couple weeks, but it's only a couple weeks. And at this point, it's going to be a very busy first quarter next year. Excuse me. It's going to be a very busy quarter next year, first quarter, if you want to call it that. We have Last of Us 2 now delayed. We've got Final Fantasy VII Remake. So I don't know, like, if it's delayed, it's delayed. I'm still going to play it. I'm still going to love it, and I'm excited about it. I'm okay with that. But what's not delayed, because we don't even know when it's coming out, is Obi-Wan. We did get some more details. Ewan McGregor, by the way, is famously saying that he's very relieved and happy that he's coming back, but he's also really glad that he can actually admit to it, because he's been lying for 4 years. They've been talking about this. He already agreed to it 4 years ago. So, yeah, I'm kind of I'm happy that he's coming back. He did leak, if you want to call it, some details, but then said he can't really talk about it. And the only thing he said was that this is taking place in between episodes 3 and 4, which we already knew. We already knew that's where it was going to take place. I mean, we're not going to get something like it wasn't going to be post Clone Wars. It was always going to be between 3 and 4. And there's story that can be told there. Rebels went into a little bit. I know I haven't seen it, but I've heard like Rebels went into some stuff there too. And I'm just excited to have him back because he's the best part of the prequels. So I'm excited to have him back. I mean, I love Ewan McGregor, and Obi-Wan is amazing. Oh, by the way, I did get to play a new game this week. I got to play some Code Vein on a different note. The gameplay's pretty good. If you guys didn't know, this is a new Souls-like game, but with a anime vampire flair. So far, the story is okay. I've really not liked the pacing in regards to the way they've been in regards to the story and in regards to some of the dialogue, the way that they're explaining things, their inflection. of the actors, as well as some of the phrasing that you would expect to give you context clues about, should I be scared of this person, should I be happy here. It's none of it's there, so I don't know if the actors really knew what they were reading, and that kind of makes me feel weird. Like, they didn't get context clues. It feels like they just read whatever the next line was, and that was it. It's not bad, but it's not gotten great yet, so I'm hopeful it gets great. It gets better. Owen's been playing Outerworld, so we'll be able to hear from him next week about this. I'm probably gonna have to buy this soon. Everyone's raving about it. They're saying this is how the Fallout universe should be. If you didn't know, this is by Obsidian, who did Fallout New Vegas, and I want to say is the game directors behind this were the ones who did the original Fallout or Fallout 2. So they know about Fallout, they know about RPGs, and it's great. No loot boxes, apparently no romancing, which some people were upset about. I like the romance options. I like the dialogue trees. I like wooing people on the video games, and it's fun. Like, Mass Effect is probably one of my favorites for that. But I'll probably have to get this. I've heard it is a great balance of, like, funny, but also like sad, like not sad, but creepy, better than the way Borderlands is, because Borderlands is just like, haha, look, I'm zany, and this is, it's deeper, it's darker, and there's a lot of decisions in it that where there isn't really a good decision, it's just a decision, and then you have to make it, and you make whatever you feel like would be the moral decision, which is what I want in a Fallout game, and apparently Outer Wilds is where we're going to get that from now on. So I guess we'll be okay with that. Jumping back into talking about TV and all that, we got news that David Benshoff and Dan Weiss, sorry, I thought I had this queued up. So these are the two that were in charge of Game of Thrones and were slated to, the showrunners for Game of Thrones, I should say. They were slated to direct a Star Wars trilogy. That is now not happening. A lot of people are happy about that. I wouldn't say excited about that. But I've seen a lot of people who were, glad that they're not touching this. Honestly, I could take it or leave it. I'm hopeful that it comes, that someone else gets to helm it, and that it's, we get someone good. It's a good fit for the trilogy. We're still hearing that Rian Johnson has not been removed from his Star Wars, from what I've heard. We've not heard that he's been removed from Star Wars, so I'm waiting for that announcement, because he's supposed to do a trilogy as well. I don't know. Like, I know that The Mandalorian and a few other projects that they're doing are going to get them right, like back on track when it comes to Star Wars. But yeah, I think this is a good choice. I don't think they were a good fit for this. Also, there's a bad taste in the fans' mouth from Game of Thrones and what they did to the end of that, because I'm not going to completely blame them, but yeah, the ending sucked. We got the trailer for The Witcher. Finally got the trailer, because we've had a couple teaser images, and there was some leaked footage, but I can't remember if it was a teaser footage or what, but this looks great. Whitney did point out that it's very similar in regards to the direction and color palette to Game of Thrones. I get that. I totally get that. I think it looks good, and I also like the inclusion of the characters from the game. I'm mostly familiar with the games. I'm not as familiar with the books. I want to read the books now, but this is supposed to be more like the books from what I've heard. Oh, excuse me. I've heard this is more like the books, so I'm excited about that. I'm also, a couple people have pointed out, watching the trailer, how he's like the only male main character. And I'm like, yeah, so you didn't play the games apparently, because he is surrounded by women of like who are powerful in their own right, or smart or whatever. Some of them do have some damsel like abilities, but they grow as characters, or characteristics, not abilities. But I'm excited about it. I think it looks great. I like the graphics. I really love him as Geralt, so I'm happy about this. I don't know if anybody else is loving the trailer, but I am. Very much so. I actually want to kind of, not speaking of, no segue, hard segue. We were talking about Disney Plus the other week, and Disney Plus it's huge. I mean, this is going to set the bar when it comes to streaming. And I think with the announcement of that and everything else going on, it was just too much for PlayStation Vue. PlayStation Vue is no more, or it will be no more, I should say. Like they were talking about selling it, and now they're just going to shut it down. So it was conflicting news for a little while, but yes, they are shutting PlayStation Vue down, which is sad. But at the same time, I think Sling and other options I think were better. I watched Vue for a little while. It was okay, but I think there are better options out there. And like I said, with Disney Plus coming out, there's less of a way for them to compete. Streaming used to be, or supposed to be, a way to go away from cable and to just say, I want to just watch this one thing that I want to watch, and I don't want to subscribe to every channel. Like for me, I don't want to watch sports stuff. I don't care about a lot of other programming. I just want a handful of channels or movie channels and stuff. So streaming is great for me because I can select just that. But now that everyone's trying to get into the race, it's making it harder for people because they're spending more money on streaming than they would on cable. If you get, say, four of the four streaming services, you're paying more than you would for cable. So it's kind of sad because you have to pay for internet and all of that. Like I said, Disney Plus is coming out. It's an instant buy for me in my house. But when that happened, and actually leading up to it and afterwards, I mentioned on the show and elsewhere that I was waiting to see what Warner was going to do, because they have the DC streaming, the DC Universe streaming, but that hasn't been doing as well as they'd hoped in regards to money. And they were talking about a Warner streaming service, which we thought, okay, well, they'll probably fold DC Universe into that. Well, then comes HBO Max, which, sorry, I thought I had this queued up. I'm going to work on this live because that's how I roll. Then came HBO Max. HBO Max is obviously HBO streaming service through HBO. And if you didn't know, HBO is owned by AT&T. And because it's owned by AT&T and Time Warner, they're able to put on a lot of content that just similar to Disney. Disney owns a ton of content. Well, Warner and AT&T own a ton of content because it says HBO, but it's not just HBO. There is so much connected to this, as it just right there in the trailer kind of showed that list of you've got Warner Brothers, TNT, True TV, Crunchyroll, Max Originals, DC, CNN, TBS, Cartoon Network. I mean, there is a lot here. There is a lot here that a lot of people may want to watch, like I said, in addition to just regular HBO. And I've got a list here because I wanted to go kind of run down some things that I don't know if people are realizing, like what all is going to be on here. But that just gave away one right there. I'm gonna run down a little list for you. We'll start off with things that I think are really cool, but they're not new. Okay, so Fresh Prince, that's awesome. Pretty Little Liars, I'm not a fan of it, but the fact that it's moving from Freeform and it was Hulu. Don't forget Disney owns Hulu, so they're stealing stuff from Disney. We got Rick and Morty, which was on Hulu. The Boondocks, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Again, that's the connection to Cartoon Network, like I mentioned. We got Genlock, that was on Rooster Teeth. We've got all DC movies. Okay, so anything DC movies. Joker is going to exclusively stream there. DC there. Okay, and then let's get into Friends. Yeah, Friends is being taken off of Netflix and it's going here. We're getting Doctor Who, including the new series, the new season series, as they call it overseas, are going to stream there. So I'm really hoping that means that we actually get it at the same time as they get it on BBC. I really hope so. Now let's go into the stuff. Oh, sorry, and South Park. Don't forget South Park. South Park's on there too. Now let's go into the stuff that's new. So starting off with DC Superhero Big, and Superhero High. DC Superhero High. By the way, I'm skipping a lot of stuff. There's even more announced that I just thought I'd bring out the highlights. So we're getting a Superhero High. It's so I'm curious if it's going to be kind of like a Riverdale or how that's going to be. Hoping it's like Riverdale. We're getting Green Lantern. We're getting a Green Lantern TV series, live action TV series, as well as Adam Strange. Both of those, as well as others, are brought to you by Greg Berlanti. I think that's how we pronounce his name. He's one of the producers for the CW and has been involved in a lot of what's going on there. So yeah, we know that he knows how to bring content. He knows how to weave an overall long-term story. So I'm happy about that. I mentioned earlier that Game of Thrones, because we did get, sorry, I forgot to mention this. We got a news that one of the prequels has been canceled, but another one has been greenlit called House of the Dragon. It's about the Targaryens. We have Grease Rydell High, which is going to be like High School Musical, which is Disney. So we have Warner's answer to that. We have Rydell, so Grease musical. So I'm assuming this is going to be set in the 50s, like the Grease musical was. 50s, 60s, like the Grease musical, but maybe it's a High School Musical like show. We get Hanna-Barbera and Looney Tunes stuff is all going to be on there, including new Looney Tunes cartoon series and Jellystone. So we're going to get Yogi Bear new TV series, so I'm happy. Gremlins, The Secret of the Mogwai, which is an animated prequel to Gremlins. Still waiting for Gremlins 3. We know it's going to happen. What else? New Sesame Street, as well as all like 50 years of content for Sesame Street, so you can watch all the old Sesame Streets. Elmo's getting his own talk show. I think it's called the Not Too Late Talk Show, Not Too Late Show. So happy about that. And then the thing that I'm most excited about all this, there's a lot of really cool stuff. Also, you're going to get HBO packaged with this. So like you get HBO Go with this. If you're an HBO Go subscriber now, you get HBO Max included. So I want to see how long that promotion is going to go on. If that's going to continue, that's a good deal. That being said, this is $15, by the way. And then the thing that I'm most excited about is Dune: The Sisterhood, which is going to be a TV series about the Bene Gesserits, and that's just really cool because we're getting a new Dune movie. We're going to get this. I really hope there's some connection. I mean, obviously there is a connection in regards to they're part of Dune and they're part of the universe and connected that way. But I hope we're going to get some crossover with the same actors that are going to be in the movie versus this. That being said, Dune, if you've not read Dune or read the Dune series, it takes place over like thousands of years. So does not have to connect in any way. This, you could think of this like it would have been a prequel to Game of Thrones. Like this is stuff that's 1,000 years prior to, or maybe not 1,000, maybe 300 years prior to the events of the Dune movies. Either way, it's going to flesh out the universe. So I think that's really cool. But either way, it sounds like Warner is trying to compete with Disney in their own way. They are reportedly trying to spend about $1.5 to $2 billion on HBO Max over the first year or the next year. That's a lot of money, and Disney already said that they were planning on, like, basically they figured they'd lose money for the first couple years on Disney Plus. And they're putting a lot of money into their product as well. But Disney Plus is like $6 and this is $15. I know there's deals, like I said, the HBO deal, and there's other people who, like one of my coworkers has AT&T. Shout out to Ed, by the way, has AT&T. So he gets HBO for free. So those people are already gonna get this service. I don't know. It's very tempting. It's tempting to throw on there, especially if as we probably all of us do, turn on like a streaming service for maybe a month and then turn it off when a specific show's coming out. Everyone did that for Game of Thrones. Like, that was one of the biggest drop-offs in their subscription history, when everyone unsubscribed after the season finale. So, and that was just because that was the only reason they had their HBO account. So either way, I think it's interesting. I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know. Competition is always good. I'll say that. Competition is always good. And we'll see how this goes for HBO Max. With all the DC stuff moving there, I'm wondering if they're going to shut down the DC universe and then just bring it over to HBO Max. That's what I would do, because you already have all the movies there. Just bring over the TV series and the animated stuff, and then just be done with it. Like, have everything under one umbrella, because for $15 for all of this, like, that's a decent deal. But don't make people choose. Like, have them pay $15 to get all this content, as opposed to whatever. I think it's, what is it, 8 for DC Universe? I don't even know. But let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that Warner has a chance with HBO Max? Do you think that Disney Plus is going to knock them out of the water? I think it's going to be like a Coke or Pepsi thing. Like, there's going to be a clear winner. Coke. There's going to be a clear winner, but I think the people that don't want it and the people that want something a little different are going to have something really good if they want it. Or you can drink either one. It's not a problem. So let us know in the comments what you think about that. And we'll see you next time, where we talk more gaming news, nerd news, all kinds of stuff. And whatever you guys want us to talk about. And lots of Star Wars. See you later.